This last item is, because I'm going to hold the discussions. Mr. President, when they renovated City Hall, right above your head used to be a portrait of Andrew Jackson. They took the portrait down and they put the city seal. Citizens are calling for Andrew Jackson statue to be removed. Now, it's not anything negative about the city of Jackson or anybody else. But if we can do something to help the citizens of this city feel good about this city, we need to do it. And so many of you have never seen the picture of Andrew Jackson right there where the city seal. A lot of people didn't even know it was there. And nobody said a word.
All right. Mr. Stokes, thank you for giving us a good precursor. Let's get it on the floor.
Okay.
All right.
Order of the City Council of Jackson, Mississippi, authorizing the removal of the Andrew W. Jackson statue from the grounds of Jackson City Hall.
So moved.
Second.
I think I've finished. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll just share that I talked with Councilman Stokes about this, and I'm in support of the removal of the statue. There are some things that we have to strategically do that make certain that we don't run afoul of the law when we do it, and so we're going to get together and do that.
I just have, go ahead, Mr. Stokes.
What I was going to say, Mr. Tillman, once we take the vote today, this is just the first step. And Liga and the mayor and everybody else will make sure we dot all the I's and cross all the T's. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Mr. Howard, you had something, sir?
Yes, as the mayor said, the administration is in support of this, and also, Legal has just a few amendments to suggest to it, and I have that to be done by way of substitution. If you all would agree to that, the order would probably be better if it stated that the authorization is given to the administration to lawfully remove and relocate the statute as opposed to just you authorizing the removal of it, so that it's directed to the administration. Also, I would also suggest that within it you put that it is further ordered that the mayor can execute any and all documents necessary for the removal and relocation, and that the funds and that to be paid for out of general funds, because there are arguably there are some legal things that we would have to do after you all authorize the administration to carry this out.
So moved, Mr. President.
If you want a copy of what
All right. We have a motion to accept the amendment as presented by Legal. Do we have a second? Second. All right. It's been moved and properly second on the amendment as presented by the City Attorney's Office. All those in favor?
I didn't say I don't know what the amendment is.
This is to take down. The amendment is to provide authorization for the mayor to execute the documents to legally remove and relocate the Andrew Jackson statue.
Move and relocate.
All right. So, Mr. Fuller, how do you vote on the amendment, sir? How do you vote on the amendment?
Against it.
You're against it? All right. So, 1, 2, 3. That's 5-1 in favor of the amendment. Now we're back to the item on the floor. Mr. Priester, then Mr. Mayor.
I'd like the opinion of the city attorney as to whether or not we also might want to add language that we've made a finding that there is a more appropriate location for the statue. Because he's confused my concern. I think the language of the law we are constrained by says, we cannot unless, but you can if there's a more appropriate location.
Can I jump in? Just because we thought about that. I just don't want to forecast that yet.
All right.
If we can, there's a place that would not run afoul of the law. I just don't know if we want to say that yet.
Vicksburg.
And just in addition to what the mayor is saying, I agree. In addition to what the mayor is saying, there is a difference between a landmark and a historical monument or some type of memorial. and City Hall was designated as a landmark. And it had the Andrew Jackson statute at the time that it was designated as a landmark. So we want to make sure that, and like I said, arguably, we want to go down that line of statutes as opposed to just statutes that simply talk about memorials and historical monuments.
All right.
So we looked at that.
Okay, well, I'd for my own personal benefit, I'd like to say that I do believe that there are more appropriate locations for this monument.
We agree.
So,
I agree with that. Yeah.
Can I didn't say.
is that a motion? Hold on.
No, it wasn't a motion to amend. It's just I
Second.
do want to have the clerk put in the record that at least for Councilman Priester, that I support this item because I believe that there is a more appropriate location for this item.
Mr. Mayor.
A little bit ahead of its time, but, I would like to make an appeal that if we're going to do this, that we commission a Medgar Evers statue in its place.
All right. Great deal. Did you have anything else, Mr. Howard?
No.
All right. I will say, let me ask this question. Where the statue is that actually a park? It's a city park. It's not City Hall. It's a city park. Correct?
The statue is located in the garden out here.
It's a park.
Right.
So does this amendment need to reflect it being removed? Because it's different. It's not City Hall. It's actually a city park, a municipal park. Does it need to?
But this is our understanding. At the time that it was at the City Hall was named a landmark, it was there.
Okay.
So it's an appurtenance to City Hall.
Okay.
So it also is considered as a landmark.
Okay.
So arguably, after you all pass this, then we would go to.
I got you.
Go to the length of whatever we need to go to, I'll say it like that, to make sure that this is done lawfully. Because you said that, and you are authorizing the lawful removal and relocation. Lawful is in there, okay? That you will see that word, we put that, the lawful removal and relocation.
All right.
So we're going to do everything lawfully to make sure it's, after you vote on it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Priester?
No, I although the city of Jackson is named after this individual,
I thought this was Mahalia Jackson, Mississippi.
I thought it was Michael Jackson, Mississippi. I think it's important that we do this with a certain solemnity, that we will always be named Jackson, Mississippi, and we will always be tied to this particular president because of this name. But it's, even as we now take advantage of the true promise of the United States to have folks that truly believe in equality be the people we choose to glorify voluntarily with monuments and honors. I think it's very important that we do this with a level of solemnity and a level of following the law as required, because we are a nation of laws, and I want us to make it clear, because I do hope people notice that what we're doing. I hope this is not something that, we're just doing this symbolically or to blow smoke at people. This is, I think, a very significant request that Councilman Stokes has put on the floor. And I want us to make sure we do approach it with the level of seriousness and sincerity that a move like this warrants, because the Trail of Tears was one of the most horrific examples of genocide and crimes against humanity. Andrew Jackson was a plantation owner, and a very brutal plantation owner. So people often talk about, we have these monuments and whatnot to think about history. So I think it's important for us, while we have this moment, to talk very clearly about the history of this specific president. And that's not for us to be ashamed of our city. You take the good with the bad, but there's a difference between getting rid of a name and getting rid of something, or moving something to a more appropriate place, given what we now know about history, that what was known the whole time, which is why in some ways they were granted these statutes.
Thank you, Mr. Priester. Mayor?
Yeah, quickly, like I agree with all of the comments of Councilman Priester, and like I said, I stand in solidarity with Councilman Stokes' item here. I wanted to get rid of this statute from day one, to be honest with you, and I think that it's a symbol of unity and where we're going. The only question there's been a number of questions that have existed. It has been said for many years that City Hall didn't belong to the city. We have a little more clarity on that today than we did before. And so that has been what has limited me from wanting to take this action or moving forward with this action. And so I think we should do this together. And I think that we should even have conversation if there is any dissent on this, that we talk with one another so that we don't have any animosity that grows, that we understand where everybody's coming from.
All right. Any of this comes, I want to take time, Mr. Stokes. I want to thank you, sir, for doing this. I agree wholeheartedly with my colleague, Mr. Priester, that this moment not be taken lightly because of what Andrew Jackson represents. We understand that he was a president, and I think that we're going to always bear the name, as Councilman Priester said. But at the end of the day, when a lot of us look at that statue, we are reminded of one of his flight to stay or to remain in the Confederacy and to be a rebellion to the American, to the United States of America. Two, Councilman Priester, as you mentioned, the Trail of Tears. But then three, his record on how brutal he was as a plantation owner and as a slave master. And that's nothing, I think, in our book that we need to continue to recognize. We can find a more appropriate place for people that would like to recognize that. With that being said, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor? All opposed? All right, let the record show that the item passes 5-1.
Mr. President, I thank all members of the council. They getting ready to lay the wreath for Mr. Tisdale, and I have to go to the cemetery, and I hold my other eye.